For our Calabacitas con Queso, which literally translates to little squash with cheese, you are gonna need some oil, salt, and pepper, tomato, onion, a zucchini or squash, some corn, some tortillas, some cheddar cheese, a poblano pepper, sour cream, cilantro, garlic powder, cumin, and oregano. So I've drained my corn and I've been patting it dry with a paper towel because we want these to kind of char, and if there's a lot of moisture, moisture contains steam. And so the drier your corn is, the more they're gonna get that nice little char on it. So I'm heating a drizzle of oil in a pan that I've been preheating for a minute. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add all this corn. If your corn starts to pop, put a lid on it, because it can. It's not gonna turn to popcorn, because this is fresh kernels. And then we're just gonna season this with a little bit of salt and pepper. Give that a quick stir, and then let this cook for like 2 to 4 minutes, stirring occasionally until we see some charred pieces. So while my corn cooks, I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to cut this zucchini. You don't wanna cut it too thinly because you don't want it to just turn into mush. So I cut the top and bottom off. I'm gonna cut this in half, like so. Flat surface is always easier. And we're gonna do about 1/2 inch pieces. So like I said, you don't wanna do this too thin because they'll just disintegrate into the pan. So I'm gonna do this with the rest of my zucchini and stir my corn. So next I'm gonna cut my poblano pepper. This pepper is not very spicy, but it does have a little bit more heat than like a bell pepper. This is what is traditionally used in like a chili relleno. So I'm just removing the seeds. You still should wash your hands after touching these seeds because there is a little bit of spice, like I said. And so we're just gonna cut this into strips. Like so. So we're not looking for like a fine dice here, like some larger chunks. Just like that. I'm gonna do that with the other half and check on my corn. And as you can see, we're starting to get some brown bits there. That's what we are looking for. Now I'm gonna dice my onion, root to tip always. We're gonna cut the tip off. Gonna peel it. Oh, and of course this peel doesn't wanna come off. I hate it when it does that. And then you recall to cut an onion. This onion's pretty small, so I'm just making one little dice. So, like so. I'm gonna do that to the other half of my onion. So you can see my corn has gotten some nice char to it. So now we're gonna go ahead and add our zucchini, pepper, and onion. Come on. We're gonna add all of our oregano, all of our garlic powder, and all of our cumin. Cumin adds a nice smoky flavor. We're gonna add a little bit more salt and pepper. Remember, don't go too heavy-handed on the salt and pepper because you can taste and always add more, but you cannot remove. And then we're gonna add another drizzle of olive oil, and we're gonna let this cook, stirring occasionally for about 4 to 6 minutes until all these veggies are nice and tender. While my veggies are sauteing, I'm gonna go ahead and dice up my tomato. I'm gonna cut that top off, and then I'm gonna cut this in half. And then I'm just gonna cut this into strips and dice it up like so, and do that to the other half. For our cilantro garnish, you see I've already started to pick some of the leaves off. You're gonna wanna just pick these leaves off like so that we don't have these long stalks. We don't want that. And then we're just gonna give this a rough chop. And that's gonna be for our garnish. Now that my veggies have been cooking and getting nice and tender, we're gonna add a half a cup of water, and then we're gonna add our tomato in. And we're gonna cook this down for just a couple of minutes until that water starts to evaporate and the tomatoes start to break down. So most of my water has evaporated, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in all my sour cream. And then give this a good stir until the sour cream is all incorporated with all the veggies. And then I'm just gonna kind of like spread this out into a nice even layer. And then top it with the cheddar cheese. And then we're gonna cover this and let this cook just until the cheese melts. All right, so cheese is nice and melted. I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle this with my cilantro. And then at this point, you can warm your tortillas. You can warm them in a damp paper towel for like 30 seconds, or you can toast them if you have a gas stove directly on the open flame, or you can do it in a dry skillet if you want a little bit more texture to your tortillas. So there you have it. Also feel free, add some hot sauce, add some seasonings of your choice. You can also add in some meat if you want, because this is traditionally served as a side dish or a vegetarian main. So as always, I look forward to your presentation.